question for my female listeners. If you're tired of waiting for a guy to ask you out, do you think it's time for you to start shooting your shot and ask him out? We pose that question coming up next here on this full-length edition of Depraved and Debaucherous. Thanks for joining me on the program. King of Podcasts here with you. We're going to talk to the female listeners out there. Target, but of course, guys, please feel free to listen in because this is important for you too. So I've been looking at my listener number. A couple of things. Number one, comments. I want to bring up something from the mailbag. There was a comment dropped in the YouTube feed on my episode from 2 weeks ago. The episode where I talked about what do women really deserve out of modern dating? Are men giving up? Which ties into today. And I got a message from that guy. And he says, no one deserves or is entitled to anything. You get exactly what you earn in life. No more, no less. And yes, a growing number of men are simply done with the double standards and manipulation. Thank you, that guy, for the message. And I look at my audience, and I always try to wonder if I'm reaching the audience I want to get to, which is younger, and it's a mix of male and female listeners. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that. When I look at the numbers, consistently over the last 30 days, 64% male, 34% female, 3% non-binary. That's according to my Spotify numbers. That's not everything, but that's a good representation. And then among the age group, how about this? This is important. 18 to 22-year-olds is 5% of my audience, and it's a 50-50 split. Among 23 to 27-year-olds, it's 64-36 male. 28 to 34, so women that are just, it's still men for the most part, but here's the thing. Among ages 28 to 34, 11% female, 67% male, 22% non-binary. And then more male than female, 35-44. And then among near 60 years old, 50-50 split. It's quite a change. So I knew I'd probably get a little more male-centric audience because I'm trying to go and help the men out there, but I also really want to help the women. And it's one of these things where I saw a story that came across from the Tango Personals blog. And you know what? It gave me something to think about. So it dropped in today as I record this. How to flirt in a way he can't resist, according to a female pickup artist. Now, 20 years ago, we used to have the male pickup artist, the PUA. And that was a thing where, guys would wear like certain decorations, some adornments, like decorations, right? Something that would catch attention to a woman. And then, they would kind of play up the character. Oh, look, negs, trying to impress the woman and trying to get her into a conversation, get her into a trivia quiz, something to get her interested. And then if you work a crowd, a group of people with the woman that you're interested in, and then you eventually get the girl away from the group, and then you get her to where you want. And always the idea was to eventually get her to go to bed with you the same night. So a whole lot of working around manipulation, magic act, all this kind of stuff. Like this whole personality kind of feel to it, but you have to just drag out quickly. And then, of course, you have to approach so many times until you get the right situation. So what if women had to deal with this? And the story they come in here is from the Frisky on yourtango.com. And we've heard about at bars, the pickup artist. Okay. Well, now there is a women's pickup artist school. Yeah. London's Flirt Diva Academy on how to flirt and the best flirting techniques women need to know so they can effectively flirt. So Sue Osler's a flirt coach, and she says, lighting the spark to your personality and letting people see it shine through. So she has classes, and what she talked about is there's things that you learn about how to flirt when you're a female pickup artist, from when you're learning from a pickup artist. Look like you're enjoying yourself, number 1. Number 2, be aware of your surroundings. Number 3, make eye contact. Number 4, lean inwards while you chat. Number 5, use the EIOU theory. So use your ears to listen, show your personality by using I statements, be animated like saying, oh my God, and make the person you're talking to the focus of your conversation. Okay. And I appreciate the story here. But the reason we hear about the women's idea of shooting their shot, because there are enough women I see on my FYP page, For You page, talking about, what do we need to do? Do I need to start hitting on guys myself? Like, there are women you beautiful women that are out there and they're saying, do I need to just approach guys? Guys, is that what you want? And plenty of guys say yes. Overwhelmingly say yes. I say yes. I'd be flattered. Please. After all the work? You know, there's something you said about when you go out and you try to have the understanding as women that you don't have to necessarily go ahead and go out and pick up. That's not your necessity. When I talk to some women, you know, just talking on dating sites and other places, and individual one-on-one conversations, and how someone would think they also need to chase. No, you're not the man. What are you doing? When women need to realize, and I actually have to tell some women over and over, if there's insecurities they have, if they feel like there's something with that they're not feeling right about themselves, they feel like they feel like there's a reason why they're not picked. They're the reason why other women are being picked in front of them. Questioning their beauty, questioning their youth, questioning their looks, questioning their appearance, everything, which is wrong. What needs to be understood is for women is that you just need to be approachable. And what I'm saying is this, what the real truth is that what I've learned for a woman is you have the beauty, you have the power within. Many women have it. Let's just be honest. Just because mainstream society or the Kardashians or whatever the beauty industry says, it doesn't matter. There are many beautiful women. I bet some of you that if you feel like you're a little bit, if you feel like you're not at the level that you want to be, that's fine. If you feel like you are not as pretty, don't have the ability to have the pretty privilege like some other women might have, that you're not going to be the one that is picked first among, you know, a group of guys. If you're the woman that might be the girl that's like the hanger-on, the one that is the least desirable of a group, and that's in a way, subconsciously, in a bad way, that women will kind of want to be your friends, because there's always, and I'm saying this with the most sincereness possible, there's always one girl that might be a little bit not as pretty and not as in shape. Personally, I've always gone after the ones that were not, you know, the ones that were desired. I want the girl that is the one that's not being picked. I prefer it. Because of the fact that that woman is in the crowd and she's with her friends, and you can't isolate her from her friends, because she also feels like there's a peer pressure to staying around and stick with her friends. The loyalty to them. She's like the designated driver. She is the reliable friend, the one that will not go away and, you know, fool around and, you know, neglect their friends. Like, that's kind of like the going idea. But women don't need to feel that way. There are women that I'm pretty sure that might be introverted or might not feel as beautiful as they should. Because you should. The whole idea is, even if you're not with the friends out there and you're not, you know, meeting guys, and you're just going out together, like if you're going to a bachelorette party for like a wedding, whatever it might be, girls' night, girls' weekend, right? Hot girl summer, whatever. What I'll say is this. You just got to be able to have yourself in a situation where where guys are going to like notice you. And you need to notice when guys are not giving the signal, but they are. Like, you actually have to pay attention to the unconscious, subconscious signals that guys are giving you, because, you know, most pretty girls know when a guy's hitting on her. You need to be in tuned with that part of your radar. You need to realize when there's a guy that's probably interested in you. And then you allow the guy to be encouraged to hit on you, to ask you out. And if he can't really say it, but you feel like he wants to, and you feel like you want to go out with him, then just say, why don't you ask me out? Why don't we go out? You know, take me out on a date. Like, take the initiative and then just lead him in. And let me tell you, if a guy gets that, I think he would be flattered, and I think he would be happy to do that. Because he'll know, okay, I think maybe you like me too. So now it's even better that I've gotten an endorsement from you. I've gotten a little bit of validation for me when I'm trying to validate you. Now maybe I have a chance. Maybe there's something good coming out of this opportunity to date you. Then the guy is going to be interested. You'll be interested, and you'll have helped out. and you'll open the door for maybe a possible thriving relationship. You don't know. But if the guy was being so coy and shy and was being respectful, but he does like you, you can tell when that happens. Let me tell you if you don't know. Because I know it from personal experience. If I see a girl and I'm talking to her, she didn't notice me from anything, and I might make small talk. If I'm looking directly at her, like my eyes are not dodging anywhere else. I'm not looking down. I'm not looking at anything. I am looking at her. I'm looking at her pretty face and her, just her presence. And I'm talking to her because I want her to look at me. I want her to hopefully notice me, hey, I'm right here. I'm interested in you. But I'm trying to also be respectful as well. So I might go ahead and talk a conversation. And then maybe there's a chat back and forth. And then we might get into a little small talk that might be good. And we're getting somewhere. What if you had a guy that when you go into a store, mechanic shop, or you're going to some place where you have to ask for customer service, and then you have the guy, he's going out of his way to help you, right? Going out of his way to help you. Or sometimes you're just going to ask for something hey, see if there's somebody that'll do you a favor. Can you do me a favor? Can you help me with my, my battery is dead. Can you help jump it for me? Can you figure an idea and see if it's something that the guy might do. Sometimes if you have to do that, you also get the indicator if a guy is interested in you. Now, you don't know at all if the guy could be married or if he's with another girlfriend or what it might be, because obviously you're going to get the indicators of many guys that will be interested in you. And you'll have to figure out, that's the harder part, is to figure out after you're talking to him, what is he interested in? Is he available? Is he talking to me when he shouldn't be talking to me? Because remember, you allow yourself to be approached and then you reject. And you reject as many people as you want because you're entitled to that. Men, no, they need to be entitled to the fact that you're going to let guys approach you and you're going to reject them. And they need to be respectful and say, okay, nice meeting you, go along. And the guys that get upset by that, they get perturbed by it, then they're not the ones you want to talk to. Because they actually get upset about being rejected, then there's something wrong with them. They needed to check themselves. They needed to learn. They had to take a lot of rejections in order to get the right girl. But that's the problem too, is where guys want to go ahead and approach, but remember, it's high maintenance. It's a lot of this thought process that the woman might be a modern woman and expecting to pick a bill, to pay for her things, to buy her things on a regular basis. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. It does. But when there's a chance that you're kind of offering to kind of encourage the approach and you kind of show yourself that you're just you're interested in that person, you're interested in that guy. This also goes for a masculine or a dominant person in LGBTQA situations. Same idea happens. Masculine and feminine, dominant, submissive still works with this. It really does. The submissive allow the dominant to go ahead and kind of bring his way in, or maybe the guy is not so much, or the masculine is not as submissive. Maybe he's more submissive, more like the nice guy or the nice person. And maybe that's something you got to approach. So you look at all those things right there and you say to yourself, okay, you're opening the door. But the thing is, you need to remember that when you open the door, you can also close it. You can reject as much as you want. And we need to go and teach guys to get back into the whole thing where they can go back and approach as many women as they want, without women feeling like there's some kind of a feminist code that says you can't talk to me, you're a predator, you're gonna attack me, I don't want to talk to you, here's pepper spray, and then you're done. We don't need that either. So these are the things that are coming up. And what's being talked about now in the media is that there are some places where people are criticizing the TikTok creators that are talking about relationships and dating and bringing these kind of ideas up. Therefore, hashtag toxic TikTok. So a story from Mashable brings this up. The corner of TikTok where creators offer tips about texting, gaslighting, and crushing the male ego. Now, this is what's being said because what's happening now is that we have women that are on the site and men that are also doing the same thing, where there's a lot of bashing back and forth. The divisiveness is real and it's a bit much. Okay, we can talk about certain people that are just going out there and really stirring shit up, and those that are trying to be arbiters. They're trying to be people that are trying to work with both sides and you're kind of not negotiate, but mediate the whole situation. So in the story from Mashable, Eve Upton Clark writes about this. And she talked about how there's a creator in January 2021, Elinka Sipos. She picked up a book in the bookstore of how to date men when you hate men. She went chapter by chapter on her TikTok. Content went viral. Created a series reviewing popular dating books. And then, inspired by toxic advice she came across in the books, she started posting her own toxic dating tips directed at heterosexual couples for comedic value. So while the internet and TikTok in particular are full of meaningful relationship advice, is full of it, right? For improving communication, there's spotting red flags, helping with deeper connections. Some are dishing out the treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen approach, encouraging others to embrace toxicity in their dating lives. The requirement of always being morally correct on the internet seems to be losing its charm. And is it time to embrace? Because if you look for hashtag toxic TikTok, there are 552 million views. This community is about choosing yourself, setting boundaries, and not letting yourself be walked over. And followers are being told to reel in someone or get someone using toxic behavior. A wake-up call for people pleasers who have always compromised on their own wants and needs. Yeah. So one person, they say, they talk about if you're in a situationship where you feel like someone has a leg up on you because they're playing games, here's how to combat. Now, there are plenty of other women on here that give the advice, right? They talked to Annabelle Gesson, who's a college student from New York, frustrated with a guy she was talking to and ran in a video about things boys just don't understand about girls. 10 million viewers to that video. She now has over 5 million views total, where she shares honest relationship advice, mainly for straight men. I'm trying to remember that girl, that I've heard that name, and I can't remember if I've seen her at all, but I've heard that name before, and I just got to look. Yes, I've seen her before. Okay, got it. Thank you. Now, she's also posted advice on toxic ways to get into a woman's head, and also girls will do to guys, and the best ways to play hard to get with. And she says, I want people to know that they are heard and that these situations and issues that so many people experience. So what they're saying is people pleasing is out. Healthy relationship standards are in. So this is what's being called the villain era, a trend that emerged in the spring of this year as a rejection of the expectation of continuous personal growth. So the internet trends now embrace people's most unfiltered form of self-preservation by encouraging straight women to take back the power of straight cisgender men that have held on to it for so long, right? The modern woman approach, modern feminism. Now, there's researchers out there recently that says that dating opportunities for heterosexual men are diminishing as relationship standards rise, with men needing to address skills deficits to meet healthier relationship expectations. Now, they're saying it's addressing poor communication skills, intimacy, and emotional connection. Okay. Then we have another person that talks about this line. You've heard this before. This generation is very cutthroat. I'm tired of seeing women settle for the bare minimum. And I'll tell you this. When this article talks about, so we have certain skill sets that need to be handled to be healthier relationships. We're not hearing about the women that are on TikTok that are asking for, you need to give more to us. We're going to have our income and we're going to use your income. We're going to pay for our fun with your money. And they expect it. There is the whole pick a bill kind of the ideal. Or seeing women that go out on a first date and then they'll bring a girlfriend over and expect the guy to pay for both. Or how about this one, which was, this was obviously ridiculous, but a guy going out and taking a girl out for her birthday and she got all dressed up and she invited her family along, expecting the guy to pay for the whole family for dinner. And she's playing along thinking, it's my birthday. You're supposed to do this for me. No, he doesn't. And in both cases, the guys did not do that. Or how about the other thing where you see like the guy or girls at an Applebee's or a Chili's. And then they have this thing where, the guy asks, are we going to have sex tonight? And when the girl says no, he splits the check. It's these kind of things that are I know some of this is going to be funny, but this is contributing to the delinquency of people out there that do not know how to date. Because remember, the people that are dating right now, for the most part, unless you're younger, much younger, but if you're dating, I really believe this too. If you are dating your high school sweetheart, for a woman, that is the most pure intentions of love and admiration and giving her all, everything that she has to a guy. And the guy needing to be reciprocating the same thing to hold on to her and being genuine to her the whole time. How many times have you seen a pair of high school sweethearts? They get married and they stay married and they got kids and they work out great because they found their soulmates right away. And they don't have to go into the market of all this other stuff because the farther down you have to date, the later you have to date, the worse it gets. And we know there's a dating culture now where how many men and women in their 20s are dating boyfriend, girlfriend? And if they are, how many of them are cheating? And then how many people are just going out in a hookup cult? And that's happening a lot. But we're seeing a lot of that going on. And people don't realize how damaging it is to the other people out there that they might not be paying attention too well as to what's being done here, what's being subscribed here, what's being recommended. Not good. So in this story, they talk about take internet advice with a pinch of salt. That despite the evident popularity of these tongue-in-cheek tips, they shouldn't be seen as a means to forming healthy long-term relationships. It's definitely a reaction to how women have always been told to make everyone else comfortable. I think the pendulum will always swing a little bit more extreme and then we'll kind of level out. No, not going to happen. We're going to see more dating trends that are going to take more than ever. It's just going to happen. You need to be aware of that. And I see more than enough dating content on my For You page on a regular basis. A lot of it. And then I see plenty of young, beautiful girls that will go on dates. And I'll comment on some of those videos about how they'll have met a guy and they'll have spent a little bit of time together. And there was one, sometimes they'll go on a date and then just how things just go bad. And look, there's part of it where when you don't have that personal contact face to face where you met them first and you're meeting off a dating app, you're just hoping that you get lucky that everything works out on the blind date. And then when you have men and women that might meet each other and then instead of going to the norm, like, guys with bad intentions, they want to just go and hook up and have sex. And if a girl is offering to invite a guy over because somehow the guy is able to convince or persuade the woman to have her come over, Netflix and chill, or get her to his place, those kind of things. It's a lot there. And we need to realize what's going on and say, if women make it a little bit easier to say, hey, you know what? Shoot your shot. Because if you don't have to go through the dating apps, if you can actually just allow yourself to be talked to out there, listen, you're going to have to open the women. If you're doing it, you remember, you're going to open the door to other guys that might be creepy, might be cringy, depending on where you are. Plus, the other thing, too, is that if you're dating or you want to go on the date, yeah, you might doll yourself up. You go to the grocery store, go to the bookstore, you might throw on makeup, throw hair, get your all dressed up casual and pretty, and then you go out and you just find yourself in the spots where you might be seen and just eye contact. And then all of a sudden, the guy, if he's smart enough, he's going to catch on and he's going to try to make his approach known. And if you don't like it, you reject him. You do it in a public place like anything else. But women need to be able to open that up again. So if we're already getting this narrative that guys can't be doing this, then you need to, I'll tell you like this, it's like you're giving consent to the guy to talk. I hate that that's going on, but you know what, guys? I mean, yeah, you should try to continue to keep shooting your shot. If you like a girl, just know you're going to get rejected a lot more. And you know what? There is something to be said about there are certain guys out there that they talk about self-improvement. If you want to make sure you have a better probability, a better percentage of probability that the girl's going to talk to you, then you got to make sure that in the first 5 seconds she looks at you, she's going to find you attractive. And part of that has to be that, yeah, I hate it, but it's the way it is. You have to be dressed a certain way. Dress nice. Hygiene's on point, right? You got your hair, teeth brushed. Use a little bit of gum or use some mouthwash to make sure your breath smells good. Cologne a little bit to go ahead and kind of put the edge off. And that you're coming where you're not coming from behind to her. That you're seeing you're clearly closing in and approaching on her. And if you're going to catch her where she might be not looking directly at you, an excuse me or can I ask you a question, whatever it is, you just find a way to cue her and see if she'll answer back. Now, the other thing too is that if you're also looking, you don't do what I do, which is why I put on headphones all the time. I got Bluetooth earbuds all the time on, unless I'm out and maybe I'll put the earbuds down and go talk, but I haven't done it in a long time. I prefer to listen to my music because I'm not trying to go ahead and hit on somebody. Because now I'm at the point where I've been so cold on approaching and asking girls out. I don't even think about the fact that what if I do try to ask her out? And I say, okay, that means I got to take her out to dinner, like I'm asking. And then I got to go ahead and, spend time to go out with her. And I'm going to have to spend money, which is fine, but am I going to just go out and do something that I'm not going to enjoy? I'm now at the point where when you're taking a guy's chance to consistently go out and approach, that's something that is a practice, practice makes perfect. And so if guys continually have to worry about not approaching, now we're going to have to cut down how many times we approach. Unless you're a guy that just doesn't give a shit and you don't care what the woman's going to say, you're just going to go and approach anyway, then good for you. But I don't think a lot of women want to go and do that anyway. But if that's what the case is, that's something you got to look at. So I concern myself with stories like that. There's one other story I want to bring up before we wrap things up, and that is Plenty of Fish. Thought this is interesting. Plenty of Fish trying to get people back to their app. So this is the latest thing they have. They now have games. They now have created their own version of the Newlywed Game. This is from Gizmodo. And they say that Fast Company is reporting that they're going to feature a new game called Queued Up. It's their attempt to get people meeting before actually matching. You'll see a maximum of 6 users answering various prompts across 4 rounds before voting on who has the best answer. And then users within the group can send each other likes, and when 2 people like each other, they can begin matching. It's expected to be available twice a week at specific times and rolled out with other app updates like a modernized color scheme and new interface. So now we have to see what's going on and what's going to come up if Plenty of Fish can even come back. Plenty of Fish has been really bad. And they've seen a decline in user downloads since 2019. Younger adults are reaching for other apps other than Plenty of Fish, which used to be the king ding-a-ling when it was free. They're the ones that really destroyed and disrupted the likes of Yahoo Personals and Match and eHarmony and all these others. 20 years ago almost. Plenty of Fish really changed the game. And now we're at other things like this, and I'm like, you know what? They're just not doing well. Hinge's monthly active users, are up 344% year over year. So people like Hinge. I'm not much into Hinge. I'm banned from Hinge. I'm also banned from Tinder. I'm also banned from OkCupid and Match, and that's it. Yeah, I can still get on the Bumble, but that's pretty much it. Oh well. I hope some nuggets of information came across here on the program that maybe might be good for you. So guys, start paying attention if a woman's allowing you to shoot your shot, because that's her way of shooting her shot, so that you can both try to start talking to each other. And just then you can get together because they're hooking up, and maybe you can be a little depraved and debaucherous.